Dr. Dare Show live on Facebook and YouTube. We are here with our special guest, Sade, and welcome, welcome, welcome. Um,
Hello.
so nobody's here yet, so you don't have to be nervous.
Okay.
But we just have fun. So again, we're here with Sade. She's going to be talking about um, her book, All Falls Down. Instead, when
Mhm.
did you write that? When did you write that?
Um, that's kind of a long story, but it was published in 2020. Uh,
2020.
no,
Okay.
I'm sorry, 2021, July
2021.
2021, the month before I gave birth to my son. I was
Okay.
working on a deadline. Um, but it started off as a short story. It's based on a
Mhm.
short story that I published probably in 2019.
Okay.
Um, but everyone wanted me to continue it. I felt like the story had ended. It came to a good ending, and I kept getting messages like, "No, we need to know what happened to Ansley, and we need to know if Kara and Greg stayed together." And so
So
I
that's
turned it
how
into
it.
a novel.
Okay. So we'll get into more details, but we're just checking in. I see a few people up on the show tonight. Welcome everybody. Um, when you come in, let us know how your week has been. My week has been. Um, let me think. It went by pretty fast. I'm still getting adjusted. Sade, I just moved into a new condo, so
Oh,
yeah, and you'll be surprised. I was at the other place for since 2011, so moving
okay.
from that to now, I'm just still trying to adjust to like getting used to the neighborhood. I guess that's my age showing, but it was hard moving and getting adjusted to change.
That's a long time to be in one
Yeah,
place. Yeah.
it is. So how's your week been?
Um, my week has been hectic. Just chasing behind my son.
How old is he? How old is your son?
He is 8 months, almost 9 months. He started walking already, so
Good.
chasing behind him, just trying to get things, baby proof.
Mhm.
Had a lot of appointments this week, and um, I think I'm allergic to something
Oh
in my
no.
house. So,
Really?
yeah, something else that I'm trying to get worked out, but, it's been it's been a hectic week.
Good, but you're here. And I'm so
Yeah.
glad you're here. I'm glad you said yes. Because we've been having so many good authors on here and learning so much from each other. A lot of we had one author, his book was titled Let's Heal. Then we had a lady from California. She was talking about jealousy,
Okay.
and jealousy can kill you. And then we had not an author, but she was just one of my friend who had been through what trauma bonds and things like that. So we learned about trauma bonds. We learned about healing. We've learned about just so many things. Hey, Karen, how are you?
Hi. Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Right. So, Sade, you see where I put the question in? That's where it'll be.
Yes.
Yeah. I told you it's chill. We're cool. It's so Karen, how's your week been? I'm good. I had a good nap. I'm glad you had a nap. We missed you. We missed you in class though tonight. But sometimes your body tells you what you needed, tells you what you need to do, whether you want to do it or not. Sometimes it'll knock you out.
Right.
So so tonight we will be looking at the book called All Falls Down. It's a fiction book. Um, and but there's some mental health themes in there, so we want to pull those out. We want y'all to ask questions, um yeah, and just have fun. We usually start at 8:40, so we got 5 minutes.
Okay.
I see a lot of people out there, so say hello, check in, let us know you're there. um how's your week been? Yeah, we're just chilling out.
Can I add, any
Yes.
comments to the thing?
Yep, you just type them
Okay.
and they should pop up. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This is your space. You can do whatever you want.
I
So
just
we
want
went
to
to
give.
school together, what, 2013, 2012? I
I
graduated in
graduated.
2013.
Me too. Okay, December 2013.
Okay. I think I
So
graduated in May.
yeah, you left me there for a whole nother semester. It's okay though.
Yeah.
I just want to
Hey, Pat.
give you. Hello.
Oh, did I click something? I did. I did. What did I do?
I don't
Oh,
know if
you were gonna
it's.
say something, Sade? You were gonna say something?
Well, I was going to give everybody a link um, to the book.
Oh, send
I
it
don't
if you
know if I
send it
can
to
click
if
it.
you send it to your messenger, and
Okay,
I can copy it and put it for you.
send it to my messenger. Okay.
Yeah. And then I do have let's see. Yep, if you send it to your mess. Hey Pat, how are you? How's your week been? Glad you joined. I do have to talk to you about something, and I haven't had a chance to get back to you, so sorry. Sorry. Did you send it, Sade?
You know what? I'm gonna send it on my phone because
Okay. You scared?
this
You think you
is
going I hear you.
yeah. I don't ever get on Facebook Live or anything live, so I'm just pressing buttons and
That's
at some
okay.
point I'm gonna click out of here. It's gonna be the wrong button.
Karen says, I remember I met you, Dr. Dare, the year in your masters. Yeah, in Zumba, 2013. Pat, you say you have a lot going on. Yes, I understand that. I am just glad that I'm not even going to say it because I feel like it might curse something, but we're getting out of COVID, sort of.
That's what I hear.
Yeah, what do you feel about that?
I'm hesitant to believe
Yeah,
it. I feel like this happened last summer and
yeah.
it was all, we're free. And then a few weeks later, go
But
back home.
it's been more than a few weeks now. That's why I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I am just clicking on everything but what I'm supposed to be clicking on this other screen. Why is it doing that? Okay. So welcome y'all. Welcome to the Dr. Dare Show Live. We will be talking about Sade's books, how she got started, the themes that are in the book, what she wants to share with us, anything she wants to share. Feel free to ask any questions that you want to ask. I will put them on the screen. Um, yes, Pat says no problem. I have a lot going on, but all is good, good. And Karen says, "Hey, this is to you."
I'm hesitant to say it about COVID myself. Exactly. I want this to be over so bad, but
Really, right?
I'm just
The
holding my breath.
Because it's really hard. Why does this thing keep taking me to weird stuff? Hold on. Okay, let me close out that.
And what I just sent you, one of them is a free ebook that you can
Okay,
download. It's a prequel to the novel.
okay.
Um, Not that you have to read that to be able to enjoy the novel, but it's free, so you
So
can
we
have
like
it for
free
free.
stuff. Is that for everybody that's on too?
Mhm. Yeah,
Okay,
anybody can
perfect,
download it. And
perfect.
then I sent you a link to, um, a purchase link for the book because,
Okay,
it's on Amazon, but it's also on Apple Books, Barnes& and Noble. Only place you can get a paperback copy, though, is Amazon.
okay. So which one do you prefer people to go to, or is there a, preference, or it doesn't matter?
It doesn't matter. Whatever you
Okay.
have loaded on your phone, if you wanna read read in Apple Books, you can purchase it there. Mostly people have been purchasing on Amazon, so if you wanna look at reviews and things, it's gonna be on Amazon.
On Amazon. Okay. And thank you for the information you gave me about getting reviews for books and stuff, because this is my first book outside of my dissertation.
Okay.
So that's published, but I'm trying to get to the link and it keeps taking me to some weird thing. Mm, Not your link, my
Oh.
me clicking on my Facebook Messenger
Oh.
and it's giving me different. Oh, you know why? Because I'm in Dr. Dare. That's why. I gotta get out. I gotta switch. Okay, so welcome everybody. I will get that once I let Sade. Okay, Sade. So you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself, and we'll get started that way. Welcome everybody. If you do have questions, just go ahead and let us know, um, and I'll pop them on the screen so we can see them.
All
And
right.
I'm gonna get your link up.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Sade. If you're looking for my author name, it's under SM Grady, but my name is Sade. Feel free to call me that if we're talking. I have a background in psychology and mental health counseling. I'm a fiction author, and we're going to be here talking about my first novel, All Falls Down. I have four books out, one novel, All Falls Down, a novella called Memories Between Us, a collection of short fiction, and one full length short story. Um, all of those are available on Amazon if you want to check them out.
Yes, check
Also,
them out, y'all. Check them out.
I have my small business and my publishing company is called Scattered Thoughts, and I should have sent you. I'll send you a link to the website too. So if you guys want to check out what I've been doing, other stuff I've created, other content, other products, it's all on there.
Okay. And you are a therapist, right?
Yes, I am a
Okay.
therapist. I'm a mental health therapist. I'm a I would classify myself as crisis clinician. That's what I've been doing
That's what
since
you've been doing.
2013.
Gotcha.
Um, I've worked in acute hospitals. I've worked at the crisis line. I worked at the Georgia Crisis and Access Line for about a year. Then I worked at the Veterans Crisis Line
Mhm.
for almost 5 years. And then I switched over to the substance abuse clinic at Fort McPherson.
Oh,
And I
okay.
was there until I had my son, and I am now on a very extended maternity leave.
And you mean
Um,
that too. You keep saying you keep saying extended.
very extended. My son will be 9 months in a few days, and I'm still here with him. So,
Awesome. So I found your links. There's the free book link. So
okay.
everybody is on the side there. You can click on that. And then the All Falls Down book link is there as well.
And I'll send you
And you'll
the.
send me the other one. Okay. So how did you get started in writing? How did you go from being a crisis therapist, we'll say, to where you are now as an author?
Okay. Well, writing in general is something I've been doing since I was a child. I just have never shared it with anyone.
Mhm.
Aside from a little bit of poetry, I would put out there every now and then. But I've written stories and things like that since, oh, for as long as I can remember. It was how I entertained myself.
Wow.
But I decided to get into blogging actually from being at the crisis line. Uh,
Really? What
yes,
would
the
you
better.
blog about? Like, what would your blogs be about?
Well, it was just really I needed a hobby. I was working overnight,
Mhm.
listening to suicidal callers all night, and I was like, "Okay, I'm going to drive myself crazy if I don't have something to
Something.
do in between these calls, to keep me awake, to keep my mind off of this." So I decided to start a blog, and it was about anything. So that's why it became Scattered Thoughts because there was no central theme. It was
Theme.
like one day I was writing about relationships, and then I was writing about just the world in general. Then I was writing a short story, and everything just went up on the blog. So
So
Scattered
scattered
Thoughts
thoughts.
sounded like the perfect name for,
Yeah.
for the blog. I didn't know it would eventually turn into my publishing company, but here we
That's
are.
amazing. I didn't
Yeah.
know you had a publishing company. That's awesome. I
Yeah.
You know what? I'm really not a writer. I just the start of the pandemic, something was like, go in there and write about your life. And
Mhm.
so that's what I did. And I would write a little bit every day about all the stuff that I went through that built up my anxiety that I have. And that's where my book came to fruition, is through that way. So what so I know your book is fiction.
Yes.
So how do you come up with your themes? Is it a lot of mental health stuff or
Well, I can't get away from mental health, so it's it's in everything that I write. You'll find it somewhere in there. Um,
Mhm.
one of the main characters, Kara, in this book, she was actually in graduate school to become a counselor at the beginning of the book, and then she
Okay.
changes her mind, um, and decides to pursue a whole nother career. Um, so that, I could say that's was taking a little bit from my life, trying to decide what I wanted to do during the time that I was pregnant. I felt like, okay, maybe I should be going in a different direction. I was very much further ahead than Kara in my
Mhm.
career already, but just thinking about, that desire to do something other than the plan you've already set out on and how that affects different relationships.
Mhm.
Um, and there's a little bit of me in probably every story that I write,
I
like,
was going to say I hear a comparison between Kara and what you were just saying. So,
yeah,
yeah.
there's definitely a little bit of me in everything, and it pops up in different ways. Like, there could be, parts of my career in one story, parts of my relationship with my parents, parts of my relationship with my husband. So I think that it's all very therapeutic for me to write it
Okay.
down.
Okay.
Um, and even back when I started writing when I was at the
Mhm.
crisis line, started blogging, it was therapeutic because, we're always telling people, you should journal, you should get your thoughts out on
Exactly.
paper, you should do
Yep.
this. And I'm
What does
like,
that
well,
do for you? Like for people that are listening out there, what does writing do for you? I know you just kind of said it, but what is
mhm. It's a release. It helps you to get your thoughts out. It helps to organize your thoughts. It helps to give some type of clarity to all the stuff that's jumbled up in your brain, if that's a problem for you.
right?
Um, for me, my brain is always going a million miles a minute,
Mine
so
too.
it
But it
has to
helps.
go somewhere.
And I tell my clients that too. Like if you can't handle those thoughts and they're overwhelming, journaling is the best thing for you because you can get it out on paper. You can organize those thoughts. So if y'all are listening out there, if you're struggling with any kind of overthinking or you have all of these thoughts and things that you want to do but you don't know how to organize them and all of that stuff, journaling or writing is a same difference, is a good tool. So tell us about the book. Like what's the thing that you can tell us, so we still want people to go buy the book so we don't have to reveal a
Okay.
lot.
Right. So I won't I won't give too much away, but so see, while working overnight. Okay. Karen said, while working overnight, thank goodness you took up a therapeutic hobby and look at how it has grown. Yes, thank you.
Yes, yes.
And you are right. Thank goodness, because I've I've seen how the opposite of that could happen. Not doing
Yeah,
anything for self care, that it takes a toll on people, especially doing that type of work for so long.
yeah,
It's very intense. Some of the stuff that you hear on those calls,
I'm sure.
um, and hearing it at 3 o'clock in the morning doesn't make it any better. But
Right.
so yeah, you're right. Thank you, Karen. Um, oh, about the book. Okay,
Hmm.
so the book is about a married couple, Kara and Greg. They got married towards the end of college. They feel like they're perfect for each other. They're like the perfect team. They support each other. They have fun together. They have friends in common that they hang out with. Everything looks perfect on the outside.
Hmm.
But they're struggling with some things like most married couples are. Um,
Right.
some of their struggles are a little deeper. You know, they're dealing with some losses that they don't necessarily want to talk to other people about. Um, and the book touches on how they both decide to deal with those losses. So for Kara, she jumps into a whole nother career. She wants to focus on that. She doesn't want to talk about it at all. It's something
So
that
she
has happened.
avoids. Kira
Yes,
avoids.
she's
Okay.
definitely avoiding. She can't do anything about it. She don't want to talk about it until she feels like she can get in a good place. Greg, he wants to talk,
Mhm.
but Kara keeps shutting him down. So, you know, he's trying to hold that burden in and keep it to himself. He doesn't want to betray her by telling anybody.
Mhm.
But eventually he does. And that turns into something terrible because who else does he confide in besides his assistant, of course? And we all know what that turns into. So, um,
Wow. Okay.
and his assistant is Ansley, and Ansley got Ansley has some mental health things going on herself, but Ansley's on the little obsessive side. But she
Okay.
goes to terrible lengths to try to keep Greg in her life. So that's a lot of what the book is dealing with. And the different chapters are told from each person's perspective.
Oh, okay.
So
I like that. Okay.
yeah, you'll see the headings at the top of the chapter. So, you know, when Kara's talking about her situation, like you're seeing it from her point of view, and
Okay.
from, and I think it was really interesting for me to write it from those different perspectives because you can
Mhm.
get so caught up in telling one side of the story. Um, but
I hear that
to
in couples counseling. Like, I
yes,
it's so perfect because I could sit there and listen to two people tell. They're supposed to be telling the same story, but it's from
right,
different perspectives, and it sounds totally different.
right.
So,
'Cause from Kara's point of view, you know, she was betrayed, which she
mhm.
was. I mean, there's
Mhm.
no getting around that. He did it. But from Greg's point of view, you know, he's like, "Well, who else was I gonna talk to? You shut me out. I had nobody. I didn't mean for it to turn into this." And poor Ansley, she's she doesn't know what's going on. She just knows she loves Greg, and
So she's in the middle.
yes, and in her mind, Kara's the one in the way. So
Okay. Okay.
but it's not just your typical, you know, crazy assistant is obsessed over the husband. Um, there's a little twist in it where Ansley, she goes too far.
Mhm.
I will go ahead and tell y'all this. She's not gonna try to kill Kara. That's not I felt like that was too common of a plot twist. She's not gonna kill Kara. They all are gonna make it out alive, but Ansley does try to do some crazy stuff to keep Greg in her life. So
Okay. So that's a good synopsis because we don't want you to tell us the. What I do want you mentioned when me and you were just on, you had a workbook. Tell us a little bit about the workbook because they love workbooks on here. And if you
Okay.
have, do you have the link? Do you have the link to the workbook, or is it on your?
Um, well,
And you can
everything's on my
send it
website that
afterwards.
I have not sent to you.
Yeah.
But let me
Well,
go
you can.
ahead and send it
Go
to
ahead.
you. Okay. I can talk while I'm sending it
Okay.
if my
Okay.
phone cooperates, and it is not. Uh,
It's doing like I was doing when I was on Facebook, and I'm like, what is going on? So yeah. So what's your workbook about?
so the workbook, something completely separate. Again, this is why my company is called Scattered Thoughts.
I
One day
love
I
that
just
though.
decided that we should have a self care journal for beginners. And so I created a self care journal. Um, I have some copies of them right here. We love
I
workbooks.
know. That's why I know, Karen, especially you. I know. That's why I was like, I have to get you to talk about workbooks, your workbook, because
Well, it's a
they.
guided journal. I don't know if you can see
Oh,
it.
go ahead.
That
Success
starts with
starts
self
with self
care.
care. Yep.
I don't know which way I'm moving in the camera.
Right there is
Okay.
perfect.
All
Perfect.
right.
Okay.
So it's a guided workbook. Um, another
My sister
copy.
says she needs one. Hey, Jenny.
Hello. So it's a weekly guide, and again, it's for beginners, for people who just need some motivation to get started, something to keep them going. There's motivational quotes at the top, and then there's just things to keep you going throughout the week. So, like week 3, for example, um, the quote at the top says, "He who has health has hope, and he who has hope has everything." And
I like
for
that.
the activity for the week, it's get moving. Try incorporating 30 minutes of physical activity into your routine every day. Not sure where to start? You can take a walk around your neighborhood, find yoga videos online, and follow along in the mornings or evenings. Try doing squats, sit ups, or lunges while you're watching television. There are plenty of ways to get started, and you don't even have to go to a gym. And then there's questions at the bottom, because you're supposed to be holding yourself accountable to this journal
Accountable.
every week. And there's blank pages in the back for people who decide that they want to take up journaling as part of their self-care routine.
So
So
what have
they
you seen as a therapist, not to cut you off, what have you seen as a crisis therapist, um, when people don't participate in self-care? What are the results
chaos.
of that? Chaos, right?
Yes, chaos. Because either you see burnout or you just, I mean, mostly I see burnout. I see burnout. I see what turns into symptoms of depression,
Depression.
a
Mhm.
lot of anxiety because you're keeping all this stuff built up inside. You have no outlet. You're not doing
Right.
anything for yourself. You're tired. You're exhausted all the time with no explanation. And the explanation is that you're not making time for yourself. You're trying to do everything for everybody else, or putting everything into your job, or
Right.
sometimes not doing anything, just but still not doing anything for yourself.
For yourself. So you're not being intentional with your time, basically saying Saturday at all day, that's just going to be my day to do whatever I want to do, because I think people get caught up in just working all the time, and then
Mm,
especially if you're a mom, you're taking care of everybody in the household, cooking and cleaning, or if you're a dad and you're doing the same thing. um, but what I've seen in my clients too is that they just go 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 go, and then your body or your mind just kind of breaks down, and you need to take time to say, okay, you know what, Saturday or Sunday or Monday or two, whatever day you pick, and just say, I am going to do this thing for me. And so
yeah.
this workbook would be good for that, because it kind of gives you what activities to kind of get you
And
started.
yeah, and it even says in the beginning, like, you pick a day out of the week that you're going to make your self care day. And you need to dedicate some time during that day to go through here, reread your stuff from last week, make sure that you're doing what you said you were going to do throughout the
Hmm.
week, whatever your new activity is. But getting started with just setting up that time for yourself. And that was something I had to do for myself too. I was doing pretty good after clap for the work. Thank you.
Oh.
I was doing pretty good once I started, my blog and writing, and even throughout my pregnancy. But after my son was born,
Hmm.
I realized I would go all day without even eating. I was like, so we're not even talking about, self care beyond
Oh my
beyond, like,
gosh,
normal daily
I do
activities. It
that
was
stuff
just like, I
too.
have no time to do anything, or I
How
would
many
get a
of
few.
y'all do that? How many of y'all go all day without eating, or you go all day without just stopping and saying "woosah" or "I need a break"? And Jenny, I see you say we do that. What were you saying? You pick a day and you just do self care. I think that's what you were talking about. How many of y'all do self care? And do you know
Mhm.
what it is for yourself? Because it's different for everybody. Everybody can have, it could be taking a shower or taking a bath, bubble bath, or who knows, exercising. Like, I like to exercise. That's that I don't do it to lose weight. I do it because it just helps me escape from
Yeah,
my day-to-day life. Busy all the time. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So this workbook will be good for that, to give you those ideas of how to participate in self-care. And yeah, I like the theme of your company, scattered thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I guess it's a inside look into how my brain works.
Mine too. Yeah. That's why I have so many things going on. But
Yes, you do. I was looking for your I was like, "Okay, I know one of these pages, but now, like, every time I
I
click,
have a lot. I
there's another
have a
page."
health and fitness page. I have a music page. I have a Dr. Dare Show page. Um, and somebody's telling us their self care. So yeah, I have a lot of pages. My self care is working out, also among other stuff, getting my hair done. Yeah,
Nice,
that's
yes.
good. And see, I think people think when we say self care, it has to be this big thing, but it could be whatever it is that makes you helps you escape from, or just give yourself that break to re-energize, or whatever that looks like. Yeah. So yeah.
And that's, another reason why I created this journal because
Mhm.
I feel like, a lot of the self-care things that I was looking at was leaning more towards, I guess, like, kinda putting people down for doing regular stuff for self-care. It's like, "Oh,
Right.
no, self-care is not doing what you wanna do. Self-care is not going to the movies. Self-care is setting boundaries. Self-care" I'm like, I mean, yes, that is good to set boundaries, but if you take 2 hours out of the week to go watch a movie that you want to watch by yourself or with a friend or whatever, that is self-care. That
And
is
that's my Sunday. That's what I start doing on Sundays. I just I bought this card. It's a unlimited movies for $20 a month at Regal. And
Oh, okay.
so Sundays, like, I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh, I'm going to see a movie. And I just go by myself and I sit there and I watch um the movie. And it helps me escape for that hour or 2 hours or whatever that movie length is. So Karen says, I'm too greedy to skip to skip eating. I call my Thursday treat yourself Thursdays. I like that. My daily self care is working out and drinking tea. Totally worth it. Yes, good ones, Karen.
I'm glad you have daily self-care. I'm building
Yes.
up to
How
that.
often is your self care right now, Sade? I know you got basically a new child. So
Um, right now, it's probably about once a week, which
okay.
isn't bad.
That's not
Once a
bad.
week's not
That's
bad, yeah.
that's probably my well, no, because I work out, but I teach, so it's not the same thing because
Um,
I'm teaching on 2 of those days. Yeah, yeah. Pat says in the summer, my self care is going to the beach.
oh, I love the beach.
Yes, that's nice.
I'm hoping to get to the beach next month.
Hey sis, Brenda's here. My other sister. I had two sisters on here, so they're saying
Hello.
hey. So we're talking about self care. So what's another book that you have?
Um, I
I know
have
I'm putting you
a
on the spot. You're
it's
able to
okay.
display all your
Actually, yes, they happen to be sitting down here because I'm always taking pictures and stuff for Instagram.
right.
So this is the novel, All Falls
All
Down.
falls down. Okay.
And then this is the novella. It's called Memories Between Us. This is actually a romance novella. It's a clean romance. So if you actually like erotica and stuff like that, don't buy this
Hmm.
book because you'll be disappointed. There's not.
Oh, it's
There's
clean.
not a
Is
lot
that
of
that's
those.
what you?
Yes, you're not gonna find what you're looking for in here. I have had a comment like that. Um,
Hmm.
I've had people send me messages on Instagram like, "Where's all the sex?" I'm like, "This you hit the wrong genre. This is not this is not that
That's
book."
not that's not this book. Yeah,
Um,
interesting.
but yeah, the so all my stories from this point are there it's called the Barrington Collection, so these characters are all connected by being in the same area, the same city. So, like, if you
Mhm.
read All Falls Down, you'll come across a lot of the same scenes and things that you'll see in Memories Between Us. But
Okay.
Memories Between Us is not. It's not like All Falls Down Part Two. It's not the second part of that book. Um, there will be like a trilogy within the collection. I'm working on that next.
Mhm.
But
Oh, I was
all the
reading
characters
people's
are
comments
related.
while you were talking.
No.
So my sister said her self-care is the track. Going
Oh,
to the
okay.
track, walking around, walking, yes. So she's like me, that the exercise part is self-care. Um, yeah. Karen says, like you said, Sade, self care can be little things. It does not have to be complicated. Just by drinking a favorite tea daily is very simple, but feels indulgent. Yes.
Yes.
And then my
That's very
niece is here, Tanil. Hey, Tanil.
Oh, hi.
Everybody's coming in now.
Everybody.
Self care. Tanil says, self care for me is now cooking a delicious meal since I don't cook as often. Yes, that's a good one.
See,
See,
self-care for me would be eating a delicious meal 'cause I
not
don't like to
not cooking.
cook.
Not cooking. Cooking is
No.
therapeutic though if you like take your time and just, get all the ingredients, and then you're tasting and you're just kind of slowly doing it, not rushing to do it for
Yeah.
the family, but actually just taking the time to cook it. So y'all have good ideas of what self-care is, and that's good. So you should do more of those, especially when you feel like you're overwhelmed with life, work,
Yes.
anything. You should always take that time out, because there's physical effects that if you don't take self-care, that can impact your life as well. High blood pressure,
Yes.
stress, anxiety, all of those things can come into play if you don't do self-care. So working at a crisis center, what have you learned about yourself?
Um, I've learned that I have a lot more patience than I thought I did.
Okay.
Um, that was something that I felt I've always needed to work on. I just
Mhm.
because I can feel I can feel my blood boiling sometimes
It's
when
like,
I'm just like, "Oh my
uh-huh.
gosh, like, make this end. I'm tired of you saying this. I'm tired of hearing this." Um, but I have found that when someone really does need me,
Mhm.
I have a lot more patience than I thought I did. Um,
Okay.
and I've also found out that I'm pretty good in a crisis. I stay calm. I don't get anxious
Mhm.
with, crisis calls. I've heard all the, "I've got the gun right now, I'm gonna do it." I've heard
Mhm.
them, cocking the gun. I've heard, "I'm on the highway, I'm about to walk into the street." I've heard all of that,
Mhm.
but it's like I go into it almost makes me calmer. It's like I go into this zone where I'm like, "Okay," like, everything is just, like, still and calm. It's like, "Okay, well, let's talk about this. Let's
Mhm.
find out why you are walking around with this
With
gun
that
about to walk
gun.
into traffic." Um, it's intense, like
Mhm.
and I've also learned that even though it's hard to explain. I would say, like, your brain might not be,
Mhm.
anxious or like, you might feel calm in your mind, but your body still
But
feels the results of
that
the
adrenaline.
situation. Yeah, you
Yeah, that
still feel the
adrenaline.
adrenaline in your body. So
Yeah.
that was very interesting to learn that because I would get through a call, I would feel calm in my mind, like, I haven't gotten upset, I wasn't worried that they weren't gonna make it, but I would
Mhm.
get up and I'm, like, sweating. It's like, okay, so all that adrenaline was there.
Was there. You just kinda
Yeah.
blocked it to where
Mhm.
you needed it. With COVID, was there a lot of a high rise in the
Yes.
yeah.
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 People
Interesting.
can't do the things that they were doing to cope. They can't be around people. They can't go to the places they were going for. They couldn't go see their therapist. A lot of people don't like telehealth. They don't.
They don't, yeah.
it's it definitely caused an increase. And then just like with substance abuse, Now there's nothing for you to do besides be in your house and
And
drink
drink
and
or
do,
and smoke or
smoke whatever
whatever.
you were doing.
Mhm.
All the stuff we were telling you to do before to keep your mind off of that. Well, now that's off limits. There's no activities. There's no going to be in people's house and hang out.
Mhm.
So it's definitely taking a toll on people.
And that's why it's back to self-care. That's I know that's not the secret medicine, but I think people need to learn how to take care of themselves. But during that time, I know it was hard. That was a difficult time for everybody because it was new. Nobody knew
Mhm.
what was going on. And so now we kind of know what's going on so we can kind of process it. And
Mm.
so, yeah. But any questions for Sade out there, y'all, about her books? Um, we put the link up there. I'm going to go put those
Someone asked
bags.
for Amazon, so I'm sending the direct Amazon link,
Good. Okay. So
and
here's
I'm
the
getting
All Falls
the
Down book link.
self-care journal link.
Here's the free book link. And y'all can go back to the show and look at all of this stuff. Okay, I see it now. Let me go there. Oh, you sent it right to the thing, Sade? You sent it right to the.
Oh, I thought I sent it to the messenger.
Oh, hold on. There. So, any questions before we close out the show? I know we talked about self care, so I do want everybody to take that away from the show. Make sure you support Sade and her books and her publishing company. It took me to Amazon. Hold on.
Oh, it took you directly to Amazon on your
Uh
computer.
yeah, because I clicked on it too hard. Oh, Karen, there's a lot of comments. Hold on. Karen says, I love that, Tennille. When you think about it, cooking your own food is great for the mind, body, and spirit. Yep, a holistic approach of that.
It is.
And then that's for you, Sade. Wow, pull up the.
Okay. I like TV novellas. I had no idea there were novella books. How did you get into that market? Oh, okay. Honestly, I just got into it by looking up the different word count requirements for books. So if you write a book that's under 40,000 words but over 17,000 words, it's considered a novella and not a novel. Once you hit 40,000 words, it's a novel.
Oh, okay.
Um, and for me, I found that that's a good length for a short romance if that's the only thing you're concentrating on in the story.
There's that journal. Not to cut you off. Hey, Kelly. So, any more questions? There's a lot of people on here. Any more questions? Well, thank you. Wow, the numbers are just climbing up. So, do we need to keep talking about stuff? Y'all have any questions? Any?
Yeah, you have any questions? I'm
Yeah.
here. I'm open.
So we put the journal on there.
No
The
problem
Amazon.
here.
Yep, the Amazon stuff is on here. Um, Kelly, I know you missed us talking about self care. Hey, Mike Banks, all of y'all are coming in now. We've talked about self care, so that's the thing we wanted to push. Sade has a journal. I think that's what's up right there, right? Is that the journal link?
The last link you put up, yes, that's the
Yeah,
journal.
that's the journal.
Um,
Okay. So there's a self
and
care
then I'll
journal out
show you
there.
guys the journal again. Here's one. Here's a different cover. These are
Okay.
on Amazon. Hope you can see these. Um, it's a beginner's guide to self care. It's a 52-week guided journal,
Oh,
and it just
52
makes.
weeks.
Mhm.
Oh,
And you
good.
can start any day, any
Any
week of
day.
the year. Yeah, it's because
Gotcha.
it's not dated. It starts with week one and it goes through 52 weeks. So it tries to break down self care, make it more simplistic, something more approachable for anybody to be able to do.
Okay.
And I like to tell people, buy a copy for yourself and give one to a friend so you can hold each other accountable because after a while, you fall off. You need somebody to be like, "Hey, we're on week 24. Are you doing your self-care journal? Or when's the last time you went back and looked at your stuff?"
See, and now I'm getting ready to add something to your plate, Sade. So, what
Okay.
what what everybody liked about journals here, they actually wanted to buy the journals and have a group where we kind of work through the journal together.
Okay.
So that's a market you could s- tap into maybe. Yeah, a book group basically. So any questions? Any questions? I have a self-care question, I think. Okay, Mike, what's your self-care question? Oh, how many books do you have total, Sade?
Um, 4 books and 1 journal.
4 books in one journal. Okay. Are you good? What is your next? Are you working on your next book or
Yes, I am. I'm working on what will be it's the 3rd book in the Barrington
okay.
collection. This is it's gonna be another novel. And then after that, I'm working on a trilogy within that collection, but it's gonna be focused on one family in a specific part of Barrington called Stilton Hills.
Okay.
And all of that will make more sense once you read the book or gone to my website and because there's a map of Barrington. Like I've created this whole little world. So all that stuff makes more sense if you go and look into the book and everything.
Okay. You see Mike's question, you talked about that earlier, but that's a good question. Go ahead.
Oh,
Sade.
yes. Would boundaries be self-care? Um, yes, I do think that setting boundaries is good self-care. I think that that goes more towards I guess, like, emotional self-care and more, like, maintaining healthy relationships.
Right.
Um, what I think of for myself when I think of self-care is more like being intentional with my time and taking care of myself, focusing on me instead of focusing on everybody or everything else in the world or things that I have to do.
Mhm. And and
Um
and I agree. I'll chime in there too. I think boundaries is self-care because sometimes what I found when working with clients is that when you have no boundaries, your life is usually chaotic. You don't know who you are. You're usually struggling with different things because you're allowing people to just come in and kind of run all over you without saying no. And then you have a feeling of guilt when you do say no. And learning to say no and learning to let that be okay is a boundary and it's self-care because
Mhm.
people will run you down. So
Absolutely.
just to throw that in there. Karen says, I like that you've created a whole world with your books.
Thank you. Thank
Awesome.
you.
I
I
hear your
felt
little son back there, huh?
Oh, you
And that's okay.
He's up there talking to his daddy. What he's talking about, I don't know. Thank you. I feel like it was, I think that was part of my self-care when I was creating, the little world for my books because I was like, "Well, I could base it off reality, or I could just have fun and create these different cities and
Yes.
different areas," and it was just, part of being creative and being imaginative. I've just made up these different places and right now I have like a 5-page document of all the different characters and the locations and descriptions of things. So it's really fun. So this is
Mm,
definitely, it's something I want to be my business, but it's also something that's very fun to me. And when I get to work on this, it's part of my self-care, even though it is
mhm.
work.
How do you so this is one thing you were talking about earlier before everybody came in, is that
Mhm.
you're starting to switch careers and this was something that you've always wanted to do, but now it's kind of coming to the light. What would you
Mhm.
recommend people out there who are struggling, like they're wanting to make that career change? Hey sis, hey cuz, I guess everybody's on here.
We have more people. Hi.
You see, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I thought we were. Hey Kelly. Oh, Kelly saying hey back to everybody. Hey sis Donetta. Hey cousin Rita. Yeah. Any
Um,
questions?
well,
Oh,
I'll
go
answer
ahead.
your question. I would suggest setting aside some time every week, like some dedicated time, even if it's not a lot, because you're probably still working on your current career or working in your current job, just to get some like to focus on or plan out what you want to do and start making it a regular part of your day or regular part of your week so that you can start transitioning more into that,
Into
like
that
it
thing.
might start off with 1 or 2 hours a week, but then you just, let it be more, let it be 8 hours a week, let it be 16 hours a week,
Hmm.
um, until you feel like you can make the move. See.
So
Karen
Karen
said, if
says,
you are familiar with Gloria Naylor, Women of Brewster Place, she wrote her books with a connection. She said she had a series of documents to create the world of her novels too. I'm not familiar with her, but that's pretty cool. Gloria Naylor. I'll have to look her up.
Kelly says, when you set boundaries and people get upset, how would you handle that situation? Good question.
Um, should I answer this as me personally, or me, the therapist?
You
um,
personally, whatever, whatever.
Because me personally, I don't care about people getting upset with my
Yeah,
boundaries. I think that once you get to a place where you realize that you're setting boundaries for yourself, it's not to offend anyone. It's not, like your boundaries are based on you and what you need. It has nothing to do with how other people are going to feel, how it affects them, what
right,
they like and dislike. Once you accept that and you really like wholeheartedly believe that, I don't think it would bother you that much when people get upset about you setting boundaries because you know you're doing what's best for you.
right. And that's all that matters is focusing on your needs and getting those needs met. And if that means no to everybody, that means no to everybody. It's like you said, Sade. And in my personal opinion, I don't care. It's like I'll shut everybody out just to have peace of mind, just
Mhm.
to be able, and that's okay. No hard feelings to anybody, but some days you have to do that. And Mike says, my self care has been guided medications, scheduled processing time, but I must say I have been doing less self care after COVID.
And I think that's pretty common. I think that people had gotten into a routine just to get them through COVID, especially when it was more intense and like you had to kind of
It was
schedule your day or
scary,
you were
right?
going to go
Everything.
crazy. Yeah,
It was
you had
scary at
to have
first.
things in place. And I think now everybody's like, oh, I'm a little bit more free, so your schedule's maybe not so much set in stone. I don't really think that's a problem unless you are just unless you've just pushed self-care to the side altogether, and then
Yeah.
self-care changes, it doesn't have to remain guided meditations week to week or every day. You might do
Hmm.
guided meditations for a few months and then you might switch
Switch off.
to working
Hmm.
out or,
Yeah.
like when it's warm outside, my self-care is definitely going for long walks outside.
Oh, I love
Um,
those. Yeah,
yeah,
those
when
are.
winter hits, I'm not going outside. I don't like the cold. So, I have to have new self-care routines.
But you do need self care. I think you need to have a balanced life because what we were saying earlier before a lot of y'all got on is just make a lot of us just run every day. We're working, we're taking care of other people, but we never set the time intentionally take out time for ourselves to make sure that we are okay. Because a lot of times, some of us don't find out that we're not okay until we just explode into this melting mess of chaos and stress and all of that stuff. So self care is important. If you don't get anything else off of this except going to buy Sade's books, um, make sure you are getting self care. Like Sade said earlier, if it's once a week, that's good. But you want to try to just actually just monitor yourself basically
Yeah.
to see when you need it. And Jennifer says, is that being selfish, having your self care time and people find things to for you to do? Not selfish.
No.
So yeah, it's not selfish to do self care. I think I don't know, for some reason I think growing up that's what we were taught. Like if you decide to do stuff for yourself, that's selfish. But no, you need that time because I don't know about y'all. Have y'all ever exploded on somebody and it had nothing to do with them? You were just irritated or frustrated because you let all this stuff pile up, and then all of a sudden that one person comes and they don't mean any harm and they say something and you just let them have it. That's probably when you needed to go and do some self
Right.
care before it got to that point. So it's not selfish, because if you don't do it, eventually you're gonna explode.
Yeah, that I mean, that happened to me working overnight at the crisis line had because it's hard to force yourself to sleep during the day. That's not your body's natural sleep rhythm.
Sleep
So,
rhythm, right?
you know, going weeks without getting any real sleep, broken up sleep during the day and just being exhausted. And then all of a sudden I'm snapping at everybody and it's like, well, no one's really done anything to you. Like, what is your problem? It was just I was exhausted. I had not taken any time for myself. So
You
make
know,
sure that you take that time
when you
out.
get like that, Sade, do you tell yourself like, this is this is just me because I'm tired. This is just me because I haven't allowed myself to kind of take a step back. I was doing that last week because all the moving and all that stuff, and I had so many different things going on, and I was like, I could feel that I'm irritated, so I need to go sit down and not
That
probably
was
not.
me last week. I left and went to Target. I told I told my husband, I was like, "I have to go." He was like, "Why?" I was like, "I am so irritated." And neither I was like, "You nor Parker have done anything to me." He's a
Anything.
baby. He's
Hmm.
not doing anything but being a baby. You haven't done anything to me, but I feel ready to snap at you. So I'm going to go ride around and then I'm going to go walk around Target and I'll be back. And I felt so
Perfect.
much better.
Yeah, because sometimes it isn't people, it's us.
It's just
It's
us.
just that one. Yeah, I have learned that the older you get, the better you are at saying no and meaning it, and people will take your no seriously. No is a complete sentence, period.
Absolutely.
Yes, I love
Especially
that,
when you
Karen.
start practicing saying no,
Right.
instead of saying yes to things you don't really wanna do, and now you're gonna have an attitude when you do it, but you said no because 'cause you're gonna feel guilty if you don't say when you just start saying no, people will get used to the fact that sometimes you're gonna say no. They're not gonna get
Yeah.
what they want.
Nope. No, I'm not doing it.
No, I don't feel like it.
Yeah. And I
Just
think
don't.
we're taught in society not to do that. It's
Right.
like you're just supposed to say yes to everything.
You're just
But
supposed to.
so Mike, you see Mike's question there?
Side note, why are more and more therapists not accepting insurance nowadays?
Uh,
Um, well, I can't speak for all therapists because I'm not in private practice, but I imagine it's because the paperwork for insurance is a nightmare and getting them to pay up is a nightmare. So it's much easier to just set your own
Pay rate,
prices. Yeah,
price
set
rate.
your own pay rate
Yeah.
and that'd
So
be it.
if you are struggling with that, Mike, you can look for therapists who do a sliding fee schedule, which means that they'll base their rate on what you can afford. So always, if you are struggling with this and you need to see a therapist and you're struggling with the financial aspects of that, yeah, look into their bios to see if they have
Mhm.
sliding fee scale, and that means they'll work with you on your payment if you have to pay out of pocket.
And there's a lot of people, listed on Psychology Today. You can go in there and click and see, what they take. Usually when you go to their own private website, if you really can't find anybody like on your own, just searching the website, you can always call the Georgia Crisis and Access Line. I no longer know their phone number because
You're like, I don't
been
have
about
that
7
resource.
years since I worked
Yeah,
there, but if you look up GCal, it'll be there.
yeah. Yep, Mike. Hey, Angela, you're here.
Sorry, I missed the topic. Congratulations. Thank you. We are talking about, my novel, my fiction work.
There you
I
go.
have 4
Please.
works of fiction, and then I have a self-care journal. We've been talking about self-care a lot. Um, and all the links to the books are in the comments.
And I'm trying to go back and find them all so I can flash them back up there.
Does anybody have any other questions? Either about the books, self-care, something random? I'm a pretty random person, so I don't mind answering random questions.
There's scattered thoughts. Yes, anything else before we close out? Thank y'all for taking y'all time and thank Sade for being here and sharing all of her
Thank you
stuff.
for
Don't,
having me.
yeah. Are you
The
glad you
first time
came?
doing something like this. I was so nervous.
You did great. Are you glad you came now?
Yes, I am.
Good,
I am
good,
very happy. Thank you for the
good.
opportunity.
Of course, of course. Any more questions before we say good night? I thank everybody who took the time to stop and sit here with us. Self care. Anytime you have questions that you want to talk about on the show, you can actually send them to me. Inbox me. Um, yeah. But have a great weekend. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Self
you.
care. Make sure you're doing self care. Self care is not selfish. It's what you deserve. It's your right. Make sure you pick up a journal, a novel, or something from Sade. Visit her page. Her author's page is. I'm trying to find the link. That's it, right?
Yes, that is
Okay.
my website. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, everybody, for coming on. And I'm sure that you guys have probably all bought Fred's book by now. I'm going to tell y'all the same thing I told him. Please make sure you go leave a review for him. This reviews are very important for independent authors, especially on a website like Amazon. Um, you could type in the title of his book, and if someone has a title that's similar to his but has more reviews, they will list their book before his, even if you type in the
Oh,
exact title. So, um, and it only takes a few minutes. You can just leave a star rating. So, anytime you're supporting an indie author or any type of independent creator, please just make sure you leave a review on whatever platform you bought the product from.
brother. Thank you for that information.
You're welcome.
Yes. All right, y'all. So thank y'all. Have a great weekend. Self
Thank
care.
you.
And I will talk to y'all next Friday. Same channel, same place. All right. Have a good weekend.
All right. Bye, guys.